to my podcast where we are discussing the ethics and public relations in artificial intelligence. Dr. Hasan, who is an assistant professor at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln in the School of Engineering, he primarily focuses on big data and artificial intelligence. Dr. Hasan, thank you so much for joining me today. I'll go right into my first question. Could you explain a little bit about what you do and how it relates to big data and artificial intelligence?
Thank you for the introduction. My research is mainly focused on artificial intelligence. But when I say artificial intelligence, I mean the modern artificial intelligence. The modern artificial intelligence involves learning from data. So the idea is that you collect a lot of data about some phenomenon, and then you try to understand the relationships, the patterns in that phenomenon. For instance, if you want to recognize human faces, you will collect data on human faces or images of human faces, and then let a machine learning algorithm to understand how the identity of a person is related to the pixels in the images. So by correlating the pixel pattern with the identity of a person, it can understand that this particular picture represents that person. So the key idea in modern AI is to learn from data. You are not writing any function by yourself. You're not writing any recipe for learning. You just let the AI or the computer program to learn from data. My research is focused on learning from data by using AI methods or modern AI methods. The two, I would say, dominant AI methods are machine learning and its subfield, deep learning. So my research involves machine learning and deep learning. The two broad application areas in my research are computer vision, which involves recognizing pattern from visual data, from images, from videos. So that's computer vision. The other application, broad application area of my machine learning, deep learning research is natural language processing, in which I try to recognize patterns from textual data. So tweets, web documents, or any kind of documents, and I try to understand different types of patterns from textual data in natural language processing. So these are the two, I would say, broad application areas of my modern AI research.
That's amazing. And some of what you do when you start looking at the data from tweets and information like that sounds somewhat like communications work, which I'm intrigued by. So that's pretty much awesome. I heard you brought up machine learning, and my next question really touches on that a bit. So there are different definitions associated with AI, and depending on the context and the scope of the project dealing with the technology. So what would be your definition of artificial intelligence, and what to you is machine learning, and how does it relate to AI?
So AI is I would say, the umbrella. It's an umbrella term that holds different methods. One method is machine learning. So the key idea or the key goal, if you like, in AI is to acquire or achieve human level intelligence in a computer program. So you would like to develop or create a computer program that is as intelligent as a human being. But there are different ways to achieve that. Machine learning is one way of achieving human level intelligence. Deep learning is another method of achieving that goal. So AI is the umbrella term, right? And under that umbrella term, we have machine learning. And under machine learning, you have this deep learning as a subfield. Now, these days, deep learning has become the most dominant, most powerful method of AI. It's kind of synonymous to AI. Whenever we say AI, we implicitly refer to deep learning technologies. for instance, the Siri that people use on their iPhones that runs on deep learning algorithms. The Chat GPT, there's so much noise about Chat GPT too. That is also based on deep learning. So whenever people say AI these days, it's most of the cases relate to deep learning.
Thank you for explaining that, because I think some people who are not like well versed in the field like you are don't know the difference in the different components to AI that you just explained. So thank you for breaking that down. But how do you see artificial intelligence beneficial in today's society? And I know, like you just mentioned before, that you have used the tool for tracking data from tweets. And in my profession, for example, PR professionals can use AI services to conduct different types of monitoring and website analytics, and social listening and more. So how do you see it beneficial just in general in today's society?
In the context of today's society, I can give you one example, which is related to my research on natural language processing. So 2 years ago, when pandemic just broke out and people were concerned about pandemic, and there were so many stories, good stories, bad stories, scary stories of COVID-19 virus. So people were concerned. And we noticed that in the Twitter domain, there were lots of different narratives that were going on. There's some narratives that are based on true information, some narratives that are based on false information. So many AI scientists were interested to develop machine learning algorithm to identify false stories or misinformation, false narratives, just based on the tweets. What I did in my lab, I collected lots of tweets related to COVID-19 pandemic, and then I trained AI models or AI programs to recognize or distinguish misinformation from the true information. So this is one use case of AI in the context of modern society to help people recognize what is true from what is false. Another use case scenario could be, think about healthcare, right? So we know that we have to eat healthy. We know that we have to have proper sleep, right? We know that we have to do exercise and so on and so forth. But the problem is that even though we know that we should do all these good things every day, we don't do it. Many people don't do it. So how do you make people change their behavior? Imagine that there is an AI, an artificial intelligence program that lives on your cell phone, and it can talk to you just like Siri. It knows you very well. It knows your behavioral patterns. It knows that you like to sleep a lot. You don't like to eat vegetables. You don't exercise, and so on and so forth, right? If it knows you very well, then it can give you intervention. It can tell you, hey, Mr. X or Miss Y, I know that you love chocolate, you love ice cream, but why don't you have some vegetable in this morning, right? Just a little bit. Or you did not have good sleep for last 3 nights because I'm monitoring you, and I think that you should have at least 2 hours more sleep tonight. So it can give you behavioral intervention. And by giving you behavioral intervention, it can change your health. It can improve your health. Now, in the time of COVID, in the time of pandemic, in the time of stress, this type of personalized AI can make a huge change in the health, in the overall, welfare of our society.
Dr. Hasan, I will need that on my phone because I'm a big ice cream sweets eater. So if I could have some type of reminder like that, that would be awesome. And
I
you,
love ice cream too.
yeah, it's so hard to like stay away from.
Yeah.
And you kind of touched on my next question of how like humans can coexist with machines that inherently like lack human values. Like, how is that
Mhm.
possible?
Great question, and we don't have a good answer to that question. The reason we don't have a good answer to that question because we haven't been able to achieve human level intelligence in our AI systems, right? The AI that we have created so far, it has a very basic intelligence of recognizing patterns from raw data, right? It doesn't know what is right or wrong. It doesn't have common sense. It doesn't have the value. It doesn't learn the value system based on which we as a society function. So it's a it's a long game actually to create an AI that would learn the human values, that would understand the ethics of human society. We are long, it's a long walk to that goal. However, I should mention that the remarkable, progress that we have made in the last decade in AI, that shows a promise that maybe in 20 years or 30 years, we should be able to create an AI that would at least know what is good for humans and what is, maybe destructive, or what is not so healthy, what is not so useful for human society. We should have that kind of, knowledge or intelligence in our AI systems in 20 to 30 years.
And I feel like too, you have to be, I spoke careful. I spoke with another PR practitioner who was just talking about like, hey, if you use this machine learning type system, for example, to automate a message or something like that, like double check what they're saying because you can't just trust
Yeah.
technology to fulfill your needs in an area of your work. And I think,
Mm.
I don't know if you saw in the news the Vanderbilt University situation where their DEI department released a statement about one of the recent mass shootings that happened on a college campus. And then at the very bottom of the press release, there was a note saying that the message was crafted by ChatGPT
GPT.
AI.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have like situations like that where it's like you have to be careful. And yeah, could you weigh in on that? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree with the statement that we should double check. Chat GPT kind of AI is really very good at creating, narratives, creating human-like text, which is great, which is very useful in many cases. However, in critical applications which can impact, society in a negative way, we should double check the product from this AI. And there is no better way of doing it now, at least programmatically. It should involve human being. So when you use AI, you should be very careful about its implications, right? For instance, you're using an AI to hire, employees in your organization, right? People submitted their CVs, and then you have this AI to identify best candidates. What if that AI is biased, right? Biased towards, gender, race, or whatever? Then should you trust that AI, right? And how would we know that this AI is not trustworthy? So these are very useful questions to ask. We should not abandon AI, but we should try to ask these questions that would help creating better AI. I mean, the substitute of AI is good AI. That's what I would say.
That's great. And just like piggybacking off of what you just said, being that we can't trust, technology, sometimes you have to double check. Do you think there, or in the future, or sometime soon, there will be a way where we can teach machines like ethics, empathy, and compassion, if possible, to help better serve our work?
It's a It's a good question. But we have to think about ethics, empathy deeply, because when you say empathy, empathy can have different meaning in different contexts, right? So it's not a context independent notion. Ethics is not a context independent notion, right? So when you build an AI, let's say for an educational institute, that runs on one type of ethics, which is different from maybe a movie studio, right? So that is a different kind of ethics. So when you build an AI for applications in that university or school, you already have some defined notion of the ethics that is relevant to that institute, right? So it will not be very difficult to create an AI that has this narrow or limited understanding of the ethics for that particular context. I'm not saying that we can create an AI that would understand ethics in different contexts, in different scenarios. That's difficult. That would require human level intelligence. But if it's a limited or if it has a narrow, scope, then I think it's doable. And people are working on it, basically. I mean, think about very big organizations. They're using AI for human resource management. And how would you do human resource management without having this ethics built into the system, right?
That's a great question. And I'll wrap up our conversation with this last question for you. But are you excited about the future of AI and what's to come and new developments?
So to answer this question, when I think about AI, it always reminds me of a philosopher, a late 17th century philosopher, Gottfried Leibniz. So Leibniz is also considered as the founding father of computer science. So he is the person who envisioned a computing machine that can do the calculations, not just on numbers, but also on human thoughts. But that's not the point. The interesting philosophy that he had, he thought that we need a machine that can do the tasks that we are doing, the mundane tasks, right? Everyday mundane, tedious tasks. He wanted a machine that would do those tasks so that we have leisure time, so that we can enjoy our life, so that we don't have to do repetitive manual things, repetitive manual tasks, very tedious tasks. You have to relieve people of doing that so that we can involve in creative thinking. We can involve in joyful activities, right? That's the goal. And if you want to accomplish that goal, you will need a technology that is as intelligent or as human being, which has human-like intelligence, if not human intelligence. So the rise of AI is a response to our unconscious desire for that kind of technology. It was inevitable. It had to happen, and it has happened. So I'm excited that we have come this far. I mean, late 17th century to ChatGPT. It's a long distance that we have crossed so far. I'm very excited about the prospect of AI because the direction in which AI is going, society as a whole is asking right questions. We have this powerful AI, but is it trustworthy? We have this powerful AI. Can we explain its decision-making? Is it free of bias? Is it energy efficient? Is it doing good for everybody or just for the rich people, right? So these are very, very good questions. The more questions that we ask as a society, we don't have to be AI scientists. We don't have to understand AI, but we have to understand its relationship with us, its potential impact on us as a society. The more questions we raise, the better the AI would become in the future. So I'm very, very excited about its prospect, not just because of the genius of the AI scientists, but because of the responsibility of the common people, of the citizens of the society.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Hasan. This has been a wonderful, just great conversation, and I appreciate you coming on the podcast to speak with me about your work in AI. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.